Do you have a few of these kicking around? If so, let's make something. Hi there, welcome to the Upcycle Design Lab. My name's Cindy and I craft using recycled and repurposed materials to give you ideas on how to make and create more economically and ecologically. Now I hope you're not like me and that you're all ready for Christmas, but I'm still doing some decorating. So let's go make a junk mail Christmas tree. So here's a part of my mantle, and this folded book Christmas tree is what I'm going to be working on today. I decided to make a second one. You can also see my little reindeer made from corks here, and if you missed that video, you can link to that in the description box below. But I just wanted to kind of fill in my mantle a little bit more, so I'm going to make a second tree here. You can use regular magazines for this, but I don't have any magazine subscriptions and I don't buy a lot of magazines, and I like to use stuff that's just going to be recycled anyway. So I made mine out of the catalogs that you're getting probably tons of this time of year. The only thing is you need a fairly big catalog of about 100 pages or so. This is the size of magazine that I made my last tree out of, and I want to make a slightly taller, skinnier tree. So I'm just going to tear the pages down to size. So you could use a ruler, or I'm going to use my quilting square just because I have it and I think it'll be easier to hold the pages in place and tear them all the same amount. So I've made an interesting discovery here, and those of you who understand geometry probably already knew this was coming, but I'm trying to make a skinnier tree, or a narrower tree. So I thought by tearing off the pages that I would be doing that. But if you note, this magazine is still the regular size, and the folded pages end up with a width of I don't know what that is, 4.5 inches at the bottom, which ironically is exactly the same as my torn off pages, which is not what I want. So I went back to the drawing board, and I have actually decided to use a bigger magazine. You can see that it's quite a bit larger, and I'm going to do a couple more folds on it, which will give me a skinnier tree. So let's try this again. I'm going to do the same 3 folds as I did the last time. So that is the completed 3-fold fold for your Christmas tree. So now I'm going to do 2 more folds to make my tree narrower. I'm going to fold it again from the top right along the spine here. And again, I'm going to fold this corner up so that I have a flat edge here. I want to crease that pretty good. Then I'm going to open it up all the way so that I can fold this back in along my fold line. And then I've got kind of a 5-fold Christmas tree instead of a 2 or a 3-fold Christmas tree. So I'm going to keep folding my tree until I have all my pages folded. Here's a look at my finished folded tree. So I only ended up with 32 folded pages, and I think you're better off with around 50. So if you can get a magazine with 100 pages, you're probably a little better off. However, since this was folded an extra time, my pages are also thicker. So that's just something to keep in mind when you are deciding how to make your own tree. I did end up using a little bit of hot glue on the bottom to kind of try to space the folds a little more evenly, and I think that helped. So if you don't have an extra full tree, you could use that trick to make the spacing between your pages a little more even. To make the trunk of my tree, I'm just going to use some tin cans. For my first tree, I used just this small 4-ounce can. But like I said, I wanted to make my second tree taller and skinnier, so I'm just going to use a small tomato paste can. And the trick here is that you want to be able to put the lid back on so that you can put some weight in there and have everything supported. So you want to be sure you have a safety can opener, and they work a little bit differently than the traditional can openers. They kind of take the glue off the edge, so they're cutting along the edge of the can instead of in the top of the can here. So what it allows you to do is to take the lid off and to set it back on. So I'm going to empty my can out, clean it out, and then it'll be ready to fill with some weights and glue back together. I've got my can weighted down with some marbles. All I need to do now is just add a little bit of E6000 glue, or actually I have Gorilla Glue right now. They both work about the same, I think. And some hot glue just to glue the lid back in place. Hey, if you're enjoying today's content, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already, click that subscribe button and the bell icon so you'll be notified when I upload new videos. And if you know anybody who might like this content, please feel free to share it with them as well. So now I'm going to hook the two pieces together with some more of my clear Gorilla Glue and a little bit of the hot glue. I like to use the two glues together because the E6000 glue or the Gorilla Glue will give you a nice permanent hold, and because I'm impatient, I like to use the hot glue just so I get things secured together quickly. To cover the base of the tree, I'm going to use my glue combination again, and then I'm just taking some Dollar Tree twine and wrapping it around the tin can. Now, you could do a nice even wrap, but because this is kind of simulating a tree trunk, I'm just doing a very sloppy kind of wrap that has overlaps and crisscrosses over itself. This next step is certainly optional, but I decided to add a little paint color to my tree, and you certainly don't want to try to saturate the paper with paint, but I'm just using sort of a dry brush technique to add a little bit of silver color to my paper. I'm trying just to use things that I have on hand, and so I was trying to think of what would make sort of a fun decoration for my tree, and I happen to have a lot of these silver thumbtacks, so I decided to use some of the E6000 or Gorilla Glue to attach them to my paper tree. So here's my tree topper so far. I've just got 2 bottle caps glued together with a toothpick in the middle, and I used quite a bit of hot glue to get them to stay together. And then I put a coat of silver paint on the outside. But now I'm going to add a few more details with this tulip metallic dimensional paint. So one of the things I want to do is cover up this edge a little bit, especially where there's a gap down here at the bottom. And then I'm going to try to draw a little design on each side of it as well. So you can see this paint has a tiny little tip, and it's pretty easy to control the flow of paint. So like I said, I'm just kind of covering up my edge here. And then we'll see if I can draw a little star shape or something on the face of my bottle caps. So now I'll just let that dry and we'll glue it onto the tree. So here's the finished Christmas tree. I think it turned out pretty cute. I like how skinny it is. And my bottle cap topper looks pretty cute. I like the thumbtacks too. The rest of the mantle still needs some work, but thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you back here soon in the lab.